Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I'm your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we're talking about why being busy isn't the same as being ready, how long hours can hide skill gaps, why packed schedules don't always mean healthy businesses, and what real readiness actually looks like in the field as a business owner. But before we do that, I want to welcome everyone to the live podcast, a podcast where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, the SPPA, Blu-ray XL, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypak, Heritage Pool Supply, Hayward Pool Products, Poolside Tech, Pool Brain, Knee Deck, and Encore Filtration. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, good evening. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not much. Just trying to recover from several hours of monster truck exhaust and loud noises and being trapped in an arena. I took the boys up there to Monster Jam today, and it was a great time. They really enjoyed it, but I don't know if I'm just getting old or what, but that is really not my jam anymore.
You Mr. Car Guy, that's just not your jam thing anymore?
No, I mean, even cars, I don't even care anymore. I'll take whatever as long as it gets me to where I'm going.
Wow. That, John, as he says, with his spiked up truck and lifted and spending all this money on his truck, and he can just get around and whatever.
That was a deal
matter.
that took me 2 years to find.
You know, the tires are like $7,000 each, and, but he can drive around into anything. Mr. Flawless, what's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot, my friend. I'm in relax mode, chill mode right now, doing our little evening podcast. Tis the season and the time of year where we have to do some of these extra podcasts during the week so that we can give our people our podcast every Monday, because we got tons of things that are happening in the next few weeks as far as shows and events and stuff like that. Honestly, I like the evening podcasts the most. I think I'm more chill than usual. So
that's not good for us.
It's not.
We don't like chills, John. Like
you don't like chills, John.
Well, no, we like you when you're more fired up and we're a little bit worried about what you're going to say. Normally in the evening, you're like, I'm chill. In the mornings, we're just like, woo, what's going to happen today?
I got to dig down. I mean, what I do like about it is I know by the time we're done with the podcast, I'm going to feel a little bit more energized, because I'm like, my battery capacity is like almost to zero. Literally, I mean, Saturday, and I got home at 5:45 doing another heater repair today, and it's like, the work never stops. But when I got home this was a particular install or repair that was a little challenging for me, is physically when it came down to where I had to fit my body and contort myself in order to be able to get it done. But we got it done, and it got fired up, and our folks were extremely happy about it, but just a little worn out. But I'll get pumped up. These are the types of podcasts that I like to do. I mean, our last two that we did were spot on. And when it came down to as far as training and getting into the shows and stuff, and I think this one, as far as like mindset, I think is going to complement the last series, the last two podcasts that we did. So I'm stoked to talk about it.
We'll know if we start seeing the camera shaking really fast,
right?
What level he's escalating to.
Do I do that? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. My foot starts shaking and I start talking. I guess I do, right? Yeah, you're right.
he knows now not to kind of slam his hands because of the bracelet, and we're going to call him out. So now he just kind of uses his leg and the table just goes.
Yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I mean? It just takes a long time.
No, the old dog just changes it for something else. You don't teach him a new trick. He just kind of changes it for something else. How is it that they say he's got to change one habit for the other?
Right, exactly. Trade vices.
Oh, so hey, everybody, we are excited to be here. It is, we're recording this on a Saturday night at 9:00 at night for everybody out there, but we're going to be out next week at the Western Pool and Spa Show. So by the time that this podcast comes out, gentlemen, the Western Pool and Spa Show will have ended. Will be over. And that day we start heading down to San Antonio because it's like I fly back on Sunday and then I kind of get on the road on Monday to go down to San Antonio. Zach, when are you driving up?
I think Monday night or Tuesday morning, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are you flying to San Antonio or driving?
I'm driving because it's only like 4 hours and something. So figured by the time I go to the airport and do all that. And plus then that way we have a car down there.
Yeah.
So
it's like the same for you too, Zach, right? Because isn't like San Antonio like to the left and then you're to the right? Or no? Is that how it is? So you're going this way instead of going
It's
up?
still quite a drive.
It's like 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
I thought it was longer. For some reason, I thought it was like close to 4 hours for you.
That's east and west, right, John? Mustin, right?
Yeah, it is. Wow. All right. I got you. I got you.
Damn.
I
Shot
got you.
fired quick.
Yes.
Palm
Yes.
Springs is to the left
East to
of
the right.
us.
East to the right. West on the left. Okay. All right.
Damn, bro. Zach came out shooting, man.
I dig it.
Damn.
I dig
Yeah. So
Pounding coffee.
I will have to tell you guys this. Don't ever tell me east, west, south, north. Like that stuff means absolutely nothing to me. So
Yeah, I'm pretty good with directions when it comes down to east, west, south, and north. But
listen, I know North Dallas because that's where I live. Other than that, I have absolutely no idea where anything else is. But anyways, all right. Hey, everybody, we are excited. So obviously this podcast will be out when the Western is over. So we will be headed over to the Southwest Pool and Spa Show, and we're going to be doing some classes out there. We're excited about it. Gentlemen, I saw a post today that the Southwest has sold out their exhibit floor. And they even expanded it a little bit, and they have a couple more vendors coming in. So that's really exciting. It's exciting to kind of be able to see that. We are going to be teaching a couple classes out there: operational efficiency, mastering the 4 stages of scalable success, financial metrics, understanding your numbers to drive profitability, in the field, water chemistry skills that make a difference, driving results through accountability for business success, and basic principles of leadership, building trust, inspiring collaboration. Then from there, Mr. JJ Flawless, you and I pick up. We actually take off for the Orlando show, which is going to be on the 6th and 7th of March. And then from there, we literally turn around. I don't even know why you're going home. Like, you should just come to Texas because you go there and then you're going to be home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, you're going to be coming back to Texas because we will be doing the Heritage Boot Camp, which is going to be March 12th and 13th. And I have some exciting news. I don't think I've shared this with Zach yet. I think I shared it with you, John. So we are doing the $10,000 Pool Pro Challenge on the 13th. We have $1,000 up for grabs, and Raypak reached out and they want to be a sponsor of the event. So first place will take an AVIA heater.
Oh,
yeah.
Snap.
And that will be at both $10,000 challenge qualifiers this year.
That's high stakes right there.
So how times have changed. We started last year. We did the intro. This year we got money for first, second, and third. And first place will also take an AVIA Raypak heater. So if you are going to be in the qualifier, you might want to bring your truck. I'm just saying, right? Because if you come in a car, you might not be able to take it home. And, you know, hey, what does it cost to put in one of those bad boy heaters in nowadays?
An arm and a leg.
And 3 toes.
For $6,500 all day.
Right? You're over $5,000-$6,000, baby. So that's
what it tells me is if you're on the fence about going into the qualifier, you need to get out there and do it, because those odds, if you think about that, are really good.
Yeah, they're huge, right? The odds are great out there. So they reached out to us, and I was talking to Amin, I was talking to Justin, and they're like, hey, we want to do something with this event. We're excited to do it. We're excited to sponsor it. So let's give a first prize heater to E2 for both of the qualifiers. So the one that's over at Heritage and the one that'll be there at Raypak. Anyway, so $10,000 Pool Pro Challenge, which is going to be on March 13th. And like I said, first place will take a Raypak heater. And then there's $1,000 worth of prizes in cash for the top three. For all the Matrix members, March 14th, we are going to be there at Heritage. We are going to be doing our in-person class with the Matrix. And by the way, gentlemen, there's quite a couple of them coming out. I'm excited to be able to meet some of the new members of the Matrix that are coming out. And then from there, we're going to go visit ETX Pool Pros. They are opening their retail shop, member of the Matrix, and he's going to be doing an opening for the Matrix members. So big, huge shout out to everybody that's going to show up and to Anthony. From there, we go to the Raypak Boot Camp, which is going to be March 27th and 28th. The 27th is going to be hands-on classes. The 28th is going to be business and chemistry classes. So come on out. Go to poolnation.com, go to the boot camp page. You can register from there, and you can kind of get signed up for those events right there. So definitely looking forward to that. We have some big tea that will probably spill in there at some point, and we keep praying, right, that everything kind of goes in the right direction and we're able to kind of line everything up, right? So if it works, probably in March. If that doesn't happen, then it'll be a little bit later. But John, we're going to have to figure out the unveiling of that. Zach, like, how do we do that? Because it has to be a surprise, but it's difficult to do as a surprise.
I don't know, but I know you'll come up with a clever unveiling.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one. We're going to have to put some thought into that one.
But I know you're dying to spill the tea.
On this one, I am dying to spill the tea, but we got to wait because we got to make sure we line it up and it gets all closed up and the deal's done before we can kind of announce it. So you guys ready to jump in? You know what? Here's what I'm going to do, John, just to get you all fired up and get you going.
What are we going to do?
I'm going to throw the first question at you. You normally ask Zach the first question, but I'm going to start with you to kind of boom, boom, boom. Let's get him fired up and kind of get him going. We want to hear a couple of bangs on top of the counter as you're speaking. Today, we want to talk a little bit about something different, and that is that, a lot of times when we're going through our journey, when we're in the beginning, the one polar, we've got the 40 pools, we've got enough time, and then we kind of get into that balancing act phase, and we're kind of doing everything, and we're moving and trying to do it all and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of times what that feels like, it feels that because we're busy, that we're really successful. And a lot of times that's not the case, right? Just because you're busy, that does not mean that your business is doing well, that you financially are doing well. And so we want to talk a little bit about that, especially this time of the year as we get ready to kind of get into that busy season. And there's a lot of things with it, right? It feels good to be busy. It feels good to feel like you're accomplishing things and stuff like that. But that doesn't always equate to being successful. So, John, I'm going to just jump right. Let's start talking about the busy trap that we were talking about. And why do you think that the pool industry equates long hours with being fully prepared?
I think we can take out the pool industry. I think almost any industry. And I think it's like perception that
True.
Just we look at from the outside looking in, it's always like the person that's always running around or hustling or looks busy or looks like they're doing, they're working hard, working long hours. We equate that to, they're obviously successful, or, they're hustlers and they're obviously making a lot of money and, they're doing real well for themselves. But the reality is, for the majority of folks, as you experience it and go through it, right? And as time goes by and you gain that experience and that wisdom, you come to find out that chaos, or sometimes even organized chaos, isn't necessarily, it really doesn't prove or show that you're better fit or that you're doing well or better than anywhere else and than anybody else. And the truth is, it falls into kind of like, the burnout cycle that we kind of talk about. When I see people that are running around with their heads cut off, I look at it like they're either first starting in the business, and I can picture myself, and we've talked about multiple scenarios, but we have grown to equate hard work or long hours with success. And I think that's how the industry always looked upon, or that's how it was built. For a long time, pools were about hustle and survival, or anything that you did was how hard you worked and how many days you worked. They didn't focus on structure and how quality over quantity. At times we find ourselves spinning our wheels. At least that's how it was when I first started. And I look at it with other people that we've spoken about. You can be running at 1,000 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, but if you're running in the wrong direction, are you really making progress?
Yeah.
Where being more focused with structure tends to lead you to, a more successful business model or successful company or life. But again, early on when you start, especially if you don't understand the trade, you have to hustle and do that type of stuff when you're small, because you're going to make mistakes and you're going to take 3 times longer to do something than it should take. And if you don't overcompensate with effort and hustle, then you're not going to survive. So what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it's kind of interesting because if I was to look at the HVAC, I think it's a little bit different, because with the HVAC is you have whatever you're going to go fix, the piece of equipment, and you're done and you're out. If you look at the plumbing, the toilet's leaking, you go, you fix the leak, you're out, right? You get 12, 14 tickets, boom, 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 you're done. I think for us, it's really different because there's a lot more things that can keep us busy. So obviously you're servicing a pool. So that takes one element to it. And then, you got filters to do, and then the filter can kind of consume some time over there. And then all of a sudden you get pump seals leaking, right? And then you kind of have to deal with that. So there's so many variables into what we do in the pool industry. And to be honest with you, when I was doing pools at the beginning, when I started, it felt good to be busy, but I wasn't always making money at everything that I was doing. And it felt good, but then you eventually get into that balancing act and you kind of start to hit that burnout. And that's when you kind of start to think.
You're right. I see that, especially if you equate it to like HVAC and companies like that, where those companies, even if you just start out with it, you have to go to school, you go to trade school, you get licensed for it, right? So you know what you're doing when you're going out there, and it's not so much exploring or using the backyard as your
in the field,
as your laboratory, like we were talking about on the last podcast. So yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I was talking more like business owner mentality, but physically in the backyard, you're right. We lack that unified education. We lack those trade schools. We lack that college degree that you can go get to teach you how to be a technician in the backyard. So the majority of people that are jumping in the industry are literally, it's baptism by fire. When you're in there, it's your little laboratory there, and you're making mistakes in the field and you're learning as you're going, and you make a choice of either keep pushing through, until you get it, or you give up and you quit. And, so
for me at the beginning, I remember obviously something that you would call callbacks now, right? So if I did something and a customer called and I went back and did I do that shortcut when I was there? Yeah, but it felt good to go back and kind of take care of it. And then eventually you're just like, wait, I'm losing money, right? If I'm having to drive back to do that, I'm losing money, and I'm kind of starting to get burnt out, and I could make some money somewhere else. And it's not till later on during the journey that you start to realize, hey man, being busy doesn't mean that you're making money.
You know what I think? What's funny is it's not what we believe is busy at the beginning isn't really busy, because if we were to take the work that we did initially and we did it properly the first time, right? You're going to probably sit there and twiddle your thumbs for the rest of the day because you didn't have enough work to fill up those 8 hours
You're
or 10 hours
11.
or 12 hours. And I think that's what it is, where it's like, wow, what can be accomplished now in 10 hours compared to what could have been accomplished 10 years ago in 10 hours is night and day when it comes down to it. And it's the perception of being busy means that you're doing well, when reality, that's not probably the case until you're much further down your journey. It's like people end up confusing endurance with competence, and they don't realize the difference until something goes wrong.
Yeah. So Zach, obviously you're in a little bit of a different state. You kind of have some employees, you have all that. So you've kind of gone through what we're talking about with the keeping busy and doing all those things. And so have you seen situations where being busy kind of mask skill gaps?
Yeah, and you can usually correlate it to summer season. And this is something we go through every year. As much as I want to say that we're perfect at the Pool Boys, this is the never ending challenge of always trying to get better. We get busy, heads get down, things get skipped, and it costs a lot more than what people initially realize. What it does is it starts out as these small efficiencies. It's not necessarily things that are right in your face. And over time, it kind of stacks and it kind of builds until eventually then you start to see the real problems. It's things like jobs take longer than they should. You're doing those callbacks or you're revisiting pools for the same issues over and over. Chemical use goes up. You're overusing the chemicals because we've got to get through. We've got these jobs, we've got algae, we've got to get out there. And we're not stopping to like truly diagnose the issue that's going on. And so it's like,
fix the problem.
Yeah, just let's band-aid it. At the time, you're not thinking, I don't think we're intentionally out there like, I just need to band-aid this. But it's just kind of the natural thing that we do. And it ends up with us having to actually address the problem later. And that's when the real financial cost comes in. The other thing is I see money being left on the table as far as like equipment side of it, repairs and upgrades, because again, we get in this mode, we put our head down, we just got to get through the day. Heat really amplifies a lot of that. And you get back there and it's like pump is leaking is what was called in. And that's all I'm really focused on at this point. I'm not stopping to look and see if there's other things wrong with the equipment pad. And by doing that, we talk about it all the time. You're leaving a bunch of money on the table and you're also doing a disservice to the customer because they might have to call you back a week later because there's another issue that you missed. So I do see it. It happens all the time. I think that's where we have to, as business owners, stop, take a moment. And for me, this is what I love is trying to identify those skill gaps, or not even necessarily just a gap in skill, but just an inefficiency in the business. Why are we missing this piece? What do we need to put in place to fix it so that it doesn't happen again in the future? That's the pitfall is we keep trying to stay busy. We've got these things to get through and we don't slow down to actually fix what's going on.
Yeah. And I think we tend to do that in a lot of things. And even when we start and we're starting with water chemistry and learning water chemistry, it's like we don't stop to figure out what's causing the problem. All we're doing is we're just trying to pour chemicals just to get to a certain number, right? We're not trying to figure out, hey man, why does that pH continuously go up every week? And if I can solve that issue, it's going to make it in the long run a lot easier. But for some reason, we're just in that mindset of, like you were saying, is I just need to get to 7.5. And that means just adding a little bit more acid and just moving on, not stopping and looking and going, what's causing that big, huge jump in pH every week? So we don't kind of sit there and go, like you were saying, let's get to the root of the problem. We just kind of attack it at that moment and move on.
Yeah. We've talked about, are we out there as like field medics or trauma medics that we're just stopping the bleeding and dealing with the crisis, or firemen and women and just putting out fires from stop to stop? Or are we doing some preventative maintenance and making sure that we're preventing these things from happening instead of just being able to take care of them as they pop up? We've been preaching and talking about this in many different forms over the years. And I think this is how you truly become excellent in your craft. It's not so much we say you can be the greatest plumber in the world or you can be the greatest chemist in the world, but in order to run a successful business, there's so much more that's involved in it, not only when it comes down to skills and effort, but structure and planning and just managing your time, your employees, and your route efficiently so that you can do really well. I was that guy forever that was just putting out fires. And I remember going places and going, damn, okay, I got to do this. How do I get this to work or fix it? Or I just don't necessarily know how to do this or don't have as much time to do this. How do I talk a customer into this being okay for the next week or so until I can get around to it? You know what I mean? Because I got this to do or that to do. And it's that type of stuff that I think is what gives you those gray whiskers over time, you know what I mean? And really starts to wear you down. But in order to master your craft, I think you have to be able to find a way to be as efficient as possible every single day. And if that means that you have to take a half hour the night before or an hour before you head out and come up with the game plan when you're attacking your day, you'll see and you'll start to find that your days go a lot less stressful and you start to get a lot more accomplished in a lot less time.
Yeah. John, let me ask you another question. So, why does being busy give owners the illusion that things are going well, even though there's problems underneath?
It comes to the same thing we were talking about. I mean, we equate busyness with money or jobs or work or whatever it may be. The last thing we want to do as a business owner is not have that phone ring or have a repair job to go do or to quote a new home or enough pools to service in the day. So we think that if we're always running around and we're hustling and we're doing everything we possibly can, that we must obviously be successful. But we forget when we start to spin a bunch of plates or when we start to juggle a bunch of balls that you will eventually drop something, right? And you will put yourself in a position to where you're not able to maximize 100% every job or every client or everything you have. Going back to like what Zach says, you go do a job and you're doing one thing, but yet there's probably $5,000 worth of work that can be done at that pad that you just don't have the time to do simply because you just haven't planned correctly or you weren't able to communicate it well or schedule it well. Busyness always creates the illusion of being successful. And we fall into that mind frame, and the people around us, including your family, think the same thing. But in reality, we can be sitting there literally on fire inside, you know what I mean? Because we're losing our minds simply because we're not being efficient on our day. It's one of those psychological traps that I think any business owner would be a liar, especially in the pool industry, if they said that they haven't fallen in. And it's hard. It's not a simple, you just got to do this or you got to do that and that fixes it. I think it comes and encompasses so much more, where you just have to be a very well-rounded business owner when it comes down to, like I said, education, to skills, to people management, to business acumen and financials and your customer service skills. All that kind of plays a huge role. But planning is probably the one thing I think we miss as business owners, especially at the beginning, because we just kind of roll with it, and that can be to our demise sometimes.
I think another kind of level to this, we're talking about readiness and being busy, but we intentionally do this to ourselves a lot of times, and we do it through our pricing and through offering more services. I've seen it time and time again where it's like, and I'm guilty of it too, is I'm going to jump into the next revenue stream that I think the business should have. And I'm going to, in our case, we don't do any tile blasting, but for me to go out and get a trailer and I need to take on more. And it's like, no, I'm not focusing on those skill gaps that I currently have and what we do. I'm not focusing on the inefficiencies that are over there. I'm just trying to kind of shifting over that and doing something else. Or, I'm trying to be the most affordable pool company in the area and pick up the most accounts, and my schedule's full and now I'm overflowing into the weekend and I'm busy, but I'm not profitable, or I'm not. That's truly where you get into like the splash and dash, just shock it, let's go, I've got stuff to do. I think in a lot of cases, it's not because people are intentionally wanting to do wrong. It's just because they get themselves in this situation of being overly busy.
We laugh and we joke, not because it's funny, it's just because this is what we hear and what we've experienced and what we've done ourselves. But we do our classes when it comes down to our business courses. And when we talk and we coach the people, the first thing they say is, hey, I'd like to make more money. And the number one thought, Edgar, we talk is, oh, I got to get more pools. That's their goal. Oh, I need more revenue, so I need more pools. And it's always like, ooh, time out. That's probably not where you need to be at, or not what you need to do right now. You need to reevaluate your current clientele and make sure that you're maximizing everything you can. And that falls with what you're saying, Zach. You start to figure out what your inefficiencies are and where your gaps and skills are and the mistakes that you make, so that you can, one, fix them, prevent them, so that you're not compounding a problem. Because if you're in that state where you think that you need to make more profit, so in turn you have to get more pools, chances are when you add more pools, all you're doing is compounding those same problems over and over again, and you're creating this vicious cycle, and you are missing out on tons of revenue. and sanity as a business owner or a family man, because you're not going back and perfecting what you have already before you bring more into the fold, right? Because you want to stay busy or do more and do more. And then that doesn't even go into the effects that it has, especially on you as a business owner. We're built a little bit different. I get that. But when you have employees, those issues and those things, as we talk about turnover and stuff and how it makes employees feel, because those problems aren't just for you, right? Those are magnified, and the people that you have out there working for you tend to get squeezed for every single last drop with a lot less skin in the game than you do. And then now you fall into an even bigger trap hole or pitfall because you're losing employees, or you're getting turnovers, or mistakes are being made, and you're getting in trouble. So yeah, I agree 1,000%.
Zach, let me ask you, from the field sides, what are some of the warning signs that get ignored when everybody's just trying to keep up?
I think some of the warning signs are is if you start saying things like, it's probably fine, or I'll get to it next week, kind of like you were talking about earlier, that's a sign that like things are off. If you're that busy and everything has to wait or get pushed off, then there's something not right there. And if things get really quiet with the team because everyone's going, I have this thing, I call it the loop. I want to stay in the loop. I want everyone to be in the loop. And I'm guilty too. That loop quickly falls apart when we get really busy or I'm gone and things like that. And so it's really important that if you start seeing that breakdown, then you need to stop and have like a check on things like, okay, what are we missing here? At a more basic level, I think a lot of the things we see are like notes, job notes, things like that on every job that we do. We're supposed to take notes and put that down. Things get missed, pictures don't get taken. And that's always the stuff that comes to bite you in the butt, believe it or not. You can have a job and you could take pictures before and after for 300 days straight, and on the 301st day when you forget that picture, that is going to be the one job that you have an issue. That picture could have saved your butt and it ends up costing you some money or some time or something. So I think a lot of those things are what you should be watching for. And then customer communication sometimes takes a hit. I like to be very proactive. I like to be communicating with people, and if you start slacking on that and you're not as prompt or as intentional with it, that can start to really irritate customers, and that's your reputation that you're putting at stake. So I think those are some of the more common things that you see. But if you start seeing those things show up, then you need to stop and take a look at what's going on.
Yeah. Let me ask you, so from the tech standpoint, what do techs stop paying attention to when the pace is nonstop, right? When they're just busy in that summertime? What are some of those things?
So I think some of the things they stop paying attention to, I'd say one is going to be like patterns and trends. This job takes a level of critical thinking and being intentional. And these pools that you're doing, these customers that you're in their backyard, they have trends. And if you can identify the trends and stay on top of that, then you can kind of move and go along with the pool and how it's performing. But if you lose sight of that because it's too busy, maybe something shifts in the pool that week and you're not reading the pattern correctly, so you don't make the right decision on what to do, and then it becomes a problem. I think that they stop looking for, like we were talking about, root causes. It becomes more of a matter of urgency. I need to get in, I need to get out. Parts start getting used that maybe aren't needed. Chemicals get overused, things like that. So I think those are some of the key things that I see with the techs that go on when it gets really busy.
Yeah, look, I can, as far as signs, one of the things that I did personally, and not just for me, we always look at ourselves in a different light, right? So I had a hard time initially because I used to do all the pools all myself, right? I would be the only one going out there and doing all the work. And you had a level of expectation, a level of drive, and what you were capable of getting done within a certain day. And when you bring somebody on, or you bring on an employee or somebody is out there doing, it's hard for us to be able to not expect that same type of result or that same type of work output from one of your employees. And when you do expect that same output, that's where you get into these issues where they are literally run ragged and things are getting skipped or getting missed. So as a common practice or as a good practice, what I like to do is I take out whatever our day is and whatever needs to be done, and I will give an extra hour or make sure there's at least an extra hour during that day. So while we're working, we're able to stop and deal with the unexpected that might happen during that day. Where if you go to a backyard and the salt cell was just fine the last week and it's not scheduled to be cleaned for another 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but you go back there and all of a sudden now the salt cell's dirty. But if you have a jam-packed day, there's no way you have time in order to be able to do it. So now, and what ends up happening is, oh, okay, the salt cell's not working, so we're going to put that off till next week and put it on the schedule, do what we need to do. And then we start to compound these issues, and it becomes overwhelming, and mistakes tend to happen. So now, by allowing and giving that extra hour every single day, I know that anybody, when they're out there, they have time to stop and go, okay, I have time to stop and do this salt cell.
Slow it down.
And I'm still going to be able to get it done, right? And I'll be able to get through it. If I go there and a cleaner's down, I can open up this cleaner and rebuild it on the spot. And I can put the parts in, do the tune-up, change the tires, maybe a directional pod, whatever, replace fins, whatever it may be. And we're able to do it without having them having to cut corners or rush throughout the day. And when all goes well, so that they still have work or they're still able to complete their day and they get done early, we also have like a bonus list or extras that can be done if time permits. So if they get done with all their pools and they're an hour, 2 hours early or whatever it may be, because it was just a sweet day that day, then, hey, here's some filter cleans you can pick up, or here's some repair work, or here's this or that we can go do. And you can fill up your day and get these things out of the way so that you're not getting behind on things. And it just seems to work really well with us.
Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will continue.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the Pipeline Pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar. Available now. healthcare solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new AVIA HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on AVIA's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation with Mr. JJ and Mr. Zacharias. So, Zach, if you were to give John a score of 1 to 10 in the evening podcast, what would you give him?
I'd give him a 10.
You'd give him a 10?
Yeah.
I think Edgar's looking for cover from you to say that he's not happy with
you get it from me.
No, I'm just, he says that he prefers the podcast at nighttime, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out if, John, your glasses look good on you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, John, obviously we were talking you shared a little bit about obviously decision making and kind of some of your story. What decisions felt harder for you when you weren't ready?
Wow. Felt harder? I think it's kind of hard to say. In the moment, you don't really know it was harder or wrong. You don't know until you know, right? And you think that you're doing the right decision or you think that you have it figured out, because I don't think anybody purposely goes out there and wants to make their life any harder or make any decision any harder than what it should be. I think it's just a lack of understanding or experience or wisdom. Looking back at my life when I first started, there were many decisions that we made and many decisions that I've seen some of my brothers and sisters make that were much harder than they should have been, simply because they weren't ready or educated or weren't, more importantly, confident in what they were doing. And for instance, when it comes down to people, hiring them, when to fire them, how to hold them accountable without letting emotions and feelings get in the way with it. I think readiness plays a big factor in that. Are you caught in that busy cycle where, you're out there putting fires out like we were talking about, and you have an employee that's out there working or doing work for you, and you know that they should be doing better, but you make a decision because you can't afford to lose them because you're in a position, right, to where even though they're screwing things up, well, it wouldn't be as bad as if they weren't there, because then who's going to be taking care of those pools? Like those types of decisions. When it comes down to like pricing, and when we talk about being ready, being educated and understanding the current market and understanding your worth and your value and what you provide for your clients in raising rates on a yearly basis, right? Or pricing profitably or correctly when it comes down to doing repair work or service stops. Those are the types of things that I think suffered the most when we weren't ready or in a position to where we truly understand where we were as a company. That hurt us. Another thing that I think is the biggest portion for me that I learned that I wasn't ready was when I figured out that I sucked at planning my day, and that winging it, or I'm pretty good at winging things in life or being up there and talking and speaking on subjects that I know and I understand. But when you're not in complete control over certain things, the decisions when it came down to like planning, I think is where we suffered the most, or where I suffered the most as a business. And that's where it felt harder for us. And those were the decisions that were tough for us to make.
Mr. Zacharias, I got a couple of questions for you. So let's talk a little bit about, I think, where the businesses get stuck. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Where would you say, and I think a lot of this is because readiness is that what we've been talking about. Readiness is not about knowing more. It's about making better decisions when those things don't go as planned. So let's talk a little bit about where those businesses get stuck, and where do you think that owners struggle the most as they grow?
Well, I think this is something that we talk about a lot. And I think it's that transition as they're growing from being the technician on the job, being the person that wears all of the hats, to being more of an operator or a leader. And I think that role continues to evolve as time goes on. And I think one of the biggest things is when you start, and I think John was just talking about, he realized that scheduling and planning was like a weak spot for him. And it's like, I think a lot of us go through that. We bring someone on and then we don't necessarily trust them or let go of the responsibilities or delegate to them with clarity so that they can take the job and go with it. This is something I've met a lot of different business owners that I see them really struggle with, is the letting go of control. There's this tendency to want to go back in and micromanage the process and not let people do their jobs. And I'd say I probably went through that as well. I think at this point, I'm a lot better, but there's still some areas of the business that I do find myself, I will be finding myself kind of micromanaging it, and I will have to recognize like, hey, I need to back off and let this person do what they're doing. Like, why do I keep involving myself in it? And I'm sure they appreciate me getting out of the way as well. And then again, delegating with clarity. I think that's
a huge one.
The clarity piece is huge. Yeah, because like when we're first going through that transition, we start passing on these responsibilities and we kind of have an expectation of what people are going to do or how they're going to do it or what the results are going to be, but we haven't clarified what success looks like for them when they successfully complete whatever task it is. And without that clarity, there's a lot of misaligned expectations. And I think a lot of frustration that comes from that, because you might have an expectation of what a result should be or what they should be doing, but they have a different expectation of that. So I think those are a few things that business owners struggle with.
John, for you, let's talk a little bit about readiness as a strategy, right? Because I think that is part of strategy, right? And a part of a strategy is being ready. I think one of the things that we don't do as business owners, especially when we're in those beginning stages of our business, and we're talking about it today, we're keeping busy, we're doing all these things, we're trying to go through, we're trying to figure it out, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that we don't do is we don't strategize. And a lot of people talk about strategy and all this complicated thing, and strategy is not this big, huge, complicated thing. I think it's just a fancy word for planning and being ready. To me, if I was to look at it, and I think this is one of the things that we don't do, Zach, and you tell me, but I think one of the things that we don't do at those stages is we don't sit down, we don't look at the business, we don't plan what it is that we need to do. John was saying, we just talked about it, right? Not sitting down and kind of planning and doing all those types of things. And that's one of the things that I try to do now at least once a week, right? Is sit down, strategize. What does the next week look like? What does the next month look like? What are the things that really need to get done, rather than just being in the busy, hey, we got to do a podcast, we got to do a boot camp, we got to do this, we got to do that, but more of long-term, what's the strategy? Long-term, what are the things that need to happen? And to me, what I find is when you're ready and when you use that readiness as a strategy, I think there's a lot more decisions that you can make that are more calm. And there's a lot fewer emotional reactions than if I prepare for a boot camp and I've crossed my T's and I've dotted my I's and I know what's coming and I've kind of prepared for it, right? There's a lot less emotional reaction from me than allowing that date to get close and then start to feel the stress and kind of let that chaos kind of start to get there. And then I don't know if you guys notice it, but to me, it's like the problems don't feel as urgent, right? Problem comes up and it's like, okay, let's deal with it. But the times that I'm not ready, it kind of starts to feel a little chaotic.
I think if I were to sum it up, I would say if I were to look out and go, I'm going to start my day, my average day going out, whatever it may be, servicing pools or doing repairs or installs or whatever it may be. I believe that the true sign of being like ready or going through the day is the less decisions you have to make throughout the day, I believe leads to you being more ready or more prepared for the day, because decisions tend to happen when curveballs are thrown or things you didn't necessarily prepare for or plan for or think ahead for happen. And now you have to make a decision or a change, or it's going to impact your day one way or the other. Where when the day just goes completely smoothly because you took the time to prepare for it and you set yourself up and your team up for success, where you don't have to make these types of decisions and everything is kind of running on autopilot. I look at that as like prime readiness for the day, because you prepared well enough to where you were able to handle anything that was thrown your way that day without any issues. And I think that's like the pinnacle of preparation for a pool pro going out and servicing pools or doing whatever they're doing.
And in any part of their business, not just servicing pools, but you get to the stage where you have employees and you prepare, and it just kind of allows that chaos to be a little bit more under control.
I want to add that, like you were talking about, what does it look like in a well-run business?
Yeah.
I think a lot of, from what I see, because there's a lot of businesses that I look up to, a lot of it, when you get to a higher, bigger stage, a lot of the readiness stems from the financial side, which we talk about all the time. And I think that, as we're growing, we start out, we kind of neglect the financial side because we're trying to learn the technical side. This is the transition that we talk to, the progression we talk about all the time. But once these businesses get well established and they have teams of people that can help them with different things, they start to dial in that financial side, that can relieve a lot of stress, because that can dictate a lot of the decisions that are made, a lot of the systems that are able to be put in place and things like that. So that's why I think that is a core function of readiness for those well-oiled businesses. And that's like, we can have the advantage if we start learning those things at an earlier stage.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And Zach, that's a big one, right? You obviously have to be ready for that. You have to strategize for that. You have to focus on that. You have to do all that. But it does solve a lot of problems, right? Especially when financially it's going well. And let's not kid ourselves. If you know that you're making money and you're enjoying what you're doing, it has a big difference than when you're kind of struggling, not charging enough, you're working 7 days, you're kind of burnt out. It just has that big, huge trickle effect. Gentlemen, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to get some final thoughts.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the Pipeline Pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar. Available now. Care Solutions, for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new AVIA HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on AVIA's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. Mr. Zacharias, let me get some final thoughts.
Yeah, I enjoy these episodes like this where we're kind of talking through these things. And I know we've covered some similar, this is kind of all built on each other the last several episodes, but I think it's an important thing that we understand that just because we're busy, it's not necessarily always a good thing. You know, I was thinking of some sayings that you hear all the time: work smarter, not harder. John said organized chaos, spinning your wheels, chasing your tail. I mean, those are all the things that encompass what we're talking about here today. And I think for our sanity, like John was saying, and to grow healthy businesses, because this is what it's about. We want healthy businesses that provide for us financially, give us time and freedom to do the things that we want to do. I think that we have to be really aware of when we are just spinning our wheels or we are operating with organized chaos, and then look for the ways to maybe put some things in place to systemize things or whatever, to organize it all so that we have that time and freedom. But overall, I think this is a great topic. It's always a learning journey, I think, for every one of us. And this doesn't just apply to our pool businesses. This applies to our family lives, our personal lives, our friendships, and all of it. So other than that, I hope everyone has a good week.
Mr. Flawless, bring us home.
Yeah, just to tag on to what Zach was saying, too far we get, as entrepreneurs or as go-getters, blue-collar workers, people that are out there busting our butts every single day, we think that we can almost tackle anything with just enough grit or enough effort or enough passion. And the reality is that a little bit of preparation or planning goes a long way. And to take that extra 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever you might need to do so that you can mentally prepare yourself for the day ahead of you so that you can set yourself up and your team up for success. I cannot stress enough what a game changer that is for any operation or any business, because it allows you to not spin your wheels, right? Like Zach was saying, not to burn the candle at both ends and become burnt out, to be able to have the time to spend with your family and do the things, to have the right mentality when customers call or issues happen during the day. But at the same time, we don't want to say that you need to lose that passion or that fire or that hustle that got us to where we are right now, but to become,
it's just using it more wisely.
use
in
it
a
more
different
wisely.
way. Yep.
Focus that energy in a different way and watch the changes and how much more progress you can make as an individual and for your business. So yeah, these podcasts, I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm looking forward to the Western show in a few days, and I'm looking forward for this headache to go away.
Yeah, I agree. And everybody, with this series of podcasts, we're going to this year do things a little bit differently. Everything builds on top of each other. We're headed to the scaling, right? So we start a lot of conversation from the beginning, figuring out those numbers, kind of that early stage. But one of the things that we need to understand is that we all kind of go through this as business owners, right? We kind of have to go through the ups and downs and the learnings as we go through. What's really important is just kind of find out what phase you're in, right? And breaking them down. Are you in the foundational? Are you in the balancing act? Are you in the scaling? Are you in the empire? And sometimes, like Zach says, those cross, right? It's not very black and white. Sometimes those cross. It's really important to make sure that you really take some time to focus on taking a step back, looking at the business, strategizing a little bit as to what needs to get done. Because as you start to do that, and as we start to get in the next couple podcasts with regards to really making sure that there's consistency and that you're being consistent, that will prepare you for the scaling that we'll start to talk about soon. But we'll definitely do a dive into how we transition from one to the next. I hope everybody has a great week. Mr. Flawless, I hope that your headache gets better. You know what you should have taken is you should have taken some Excedrin, not Advil. Excedrin, boom, be gone like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, gentlemen, hope that you have a great night. Thank you so much for jumping on. Everybody, we'll catch you next week. Have a good one.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. Poolmanuniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at poolmanuniversity.com.